If you've had the MESA JP-2C for any amount of time, you know that getting the power cord in and out of this thing is a pain in the butt. Well, I'm going to give you a solution for that coming right up. Man Bun Metalhead here. Now, I've had the JP-2C for a couple months now, and I've unplugged this power cord once. If you ever tried to plug one of these in, especially at a gig, you really feel like one of those people in those really bad infomercials. Is it next to impossible to plug in your power cable into your JP-2C? If you're unfamiliar with this power cord, it actually is, instead of coming straight out of the amp, like the back of the amp like most do, it actually comes out the bottom in the back here. The problem is it's about 2 inches back and about only 1.5 inches of distance in between the case and the output transformer right here. Needless to say, trying to get this thing in and out it's a pain in the butt, especially if you're at a gig, you're trying to set this thing up and trying to get your fingers in there and without any light and all this. The problem with keeping this thing plugged in the entire time is, I mean, the cable's pretty long, which is nice, but you got to coil it up and you got to put it on top. There's nowhere to shove it kind of in the back of the amp, then put the case on top and hopefully it doesn't unravel and start coming out the bottom. So for me, I'd really like to disconnect this every time I travel with it. But I've come up with, I think, a pretty decent solution. So I have a extension cable that I picked up from Amazon for $5. So basically I'm just going to plug this right into the amp, and then I'm going to have a loose end here that I can plug my actual cable into. So I'll put a link for this in the description down there. I picked up a 1-foot extension, but you can get them in multiple different lengths. I want it as short as possible so that I can stick the end back into the amp and just make it really easy for transportation. So this is rated to 10 amps and it's 18 gauge wire. So the cable that comes with this, the power cable, is 18 gauge as well. You don't need it to be 18 gauge because it's such a short jump, but it doesn't hurt to have it 18 gauge. But the really thing you got to worry about is the amperage rating. So mine is at 10 amps. The amp here, the fuse on here is at 4 amps. So I would recommend a minimum of 4 amps, and just to make it say 5-6 amps probably be good, but 10 amps is fine. So you're not going to have any issues with supplying power to the amp. So getting this changed out is going to be a pain in the butt just because you got to get it plugged back in, but you only have to do it once. So let me give it a shot. All right, so I got it plugged in. It actually wasn't as awful as I remembered from the last time, but I did have a lot of light in there. But now I have this cool extension. I can just tuck it right back in there for when I travel. So when I'm at a gig, I can just pull out the extension and then plug in and ready to go. So now unplugging and plugging in the power cable on this is a breeze. Now obviously you don't have to use this only for this amp. I don't know what other amps have a power connector that's hidden like that, but if there are, this is a great solution for that. So hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, give me a like down there. And if you want to hear more about what I'm working on, feel free to subscribe and check out my channel. You'll get notified as soon as any of my reviews and tips and tricks, all that stuff come out. But hey, until next time, rock on.